Next up here on the show. Man, it was cool to get to meet Mike. Man, this is a cool company. If you wind up ever needing a garage door, it can be a nightmare because those things can be tricky, very, very tricky. And Mike Miller, you heard him here on the station. This company advertises all over the station, but it's finally good to welcome them to this show. And if you need a total replacement, you'll be surprised at how affordable that is. If you back into that sucker, don't be embarrassed. Just call Mike and get ProLift garage doors over there, and they can get you straightened out in a hurry. Springs break, motors go out. The old technology, if you've got an older door too, they're so loud. It sounds like a Sherman tank coming through the garage when you crank them up. Some of the newer technology is much quieter and much more steady when you use that door from time to time. So maybe you just want to upgrade and get a nicer system in your house. And by the way, ProLift Garage Doors does commercial work too. They do overhead, the big overhead doors, the roll up doors. That's what I have on the barn. And that thing is just wonderful. I mean, it's super heavy, 14 feet up in the air, and I don't even know what it weighs. I've had to tinker with it in the past. I can just tell you, it can be frustrating. Let the pros handle that for your business. You ain't got time to be fooling with your door. You got to get in and out and get to your customers. And they handle all of these kind of doors, the speed doors, the traditional roll-up doors, the residential doors. This is your garage door company. So, yeah, maybe you got a panel, a ding in a panel. They can actually just replace the panel. Sometimes it can be fixed, and Mike and his team know exactly what they're doing. Really high-end professional company. I'm glad to have them here on the show. ProLift Garage Doors. You can get them at proliftdoors.com. Put that's all one word, proliftdoors.com. Y'all tell Mike we said hello. I think it was Bill that we had on it. I have the right call. He's still hanging on. Bill, is this Bill from Michigan?
Yes, sir. Still here.
How in the hell did you find us in Michigan, man? I'm always curious about that. We got listeners around the country
Well,
sometimes.
I got to say, like they say, a good Yankee comes down and heads back up, and that's what I did.
So you've been down here?
Yes. I used to do utility construction down there.
Excellent, excellent. Well, you may know a thing or two about these data centers and all this stuff. You've been listening to that conversation?
Yeah, a little on the data centers. If I may ask, I don't know if it's talked too much down there, but up here we're having a real big problem with solar panel farms.
Yep. They keep announcing those, even though we know about the inefficiency and the futility in some of them. But yeah, there's a new project that just got announced in East Alabama for today. And look, if a community wants it, it's none of my business. But the pace of those has been a little slower than the data center thing. I mean, they're not. I don't see them bigfooting people with the solar panels, or maybe they are up there.
Well, what I'm told, what they do, they create such a low decibel,
Yeah.
like a hum, that the deer population here. There's excellent hunting up here.
Yeah.
Well, it just destroys the deer population.
Oh wow. Okay. I didn't know
Yep.
they made noise. I do know you hear that from wind farms. Some of these data centers have an audible sort of hum, an ominous hum
Yes.
that they'll produce if you're too close. But
Yes.
I didn't know the solar panel farms would do that. But I guess so they are generating electricity. So
And I think there's got to be some type of radiation coming off of the panels as well. So
yeah,
you got to figure the soil would then be destroyed as well.
yeah. I've heard about the heat signature on some of these things and how it sort of concentrates and radiates too. I mean, there's environmental fallout for everything we do, and the only thing I'm saying today is the public needs to know. People around these things need to know what they're getting into and have some say on it.
Yes.
Thanks, Bill. Good to hear from you, man. Call us back sometime.
Sure. Thank you.
And we're pulling for you down here. We hope that the Islamo socialist, commie, crazy people don't completely take over your state. Will is up next on a cell phone. What's up, Will?
Hey, Leland. Really quick, I'm going to try to do this as quick as possible, but I work for a company here in Birmingham, and we represent one of the largest, well, I can't really get into that. We do a lot of work with pumps in data centers all over the Southeast.
Yeah.
And existing data centers, new construction, plans, everything going forward for this. And I will tell you, the people that keep touting, oh, it's going to use 130,000 gallons of water a day, blah, 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 right? you look at your infrastructure in Birmingham with Central Alabama Water Utilities Company or Central Alabama Water, whatever you want to call it,
Mm-hmm.
just in the Birmingham metro area alone, they use 67 million gallons of water a day that they can't account for.
Yeah, it just
Okay?
goes it goes right out of the pipes.
So
It's such a yeah,
it doesn't even get to the end user.
it's a total
That's,
mess. Yeah.
that's every day. If you take this new data center they're planning to build over in Bessemer, they say they're going to use 130,000 gallons of water a day. That's a little under 47 million gallons for the year. Do the math. There's a big difference in what you've already got existing versus planned. And I'm not saying they're good or bad or otherwise, but I do know that the technology, when everybody goes, oh, it's going to impact our water, it's going to impact this, to a degree, but not as bad as everybody thinks it's going to, because I've been in these when they're under construction. They're not like the stuff that we've had, like the one on Lorna Road, or right off of Lorna Road that AT&T's been operating there at the corner of Highway 31 in Lorna for the last 50 years.
Yep.
That data center's been there for 50 years, and you don't hear anybody complaining about that, but it has worse environmental impact on us as a society than the new ones they're building, whether it's going to be the one that Nebius is building or whoever's building the one out in Bessemer or whatever. I can't talk about a lot of them, but the environmental impacts are so low compared to what they have been, and they're always getting better with what they do. Now, I'm not trying to defend it one way or the other. I'm just trying to educate people so
Well,
that
and
they
that's
understand.
exactly what we need, Will. We need to have some of the concerns assuaged. We need to know what the actual
Yeah.
impact is project per project. Some of them are going to be different. Is it my assumption is some of them use underground water in addition to surface water from the utilities,
So,
or how do
so
they get
what
their
they
water?
do, what they do is they do have an initial surge of water that they intake.
Yeah.
But once they do that, they cap it off, and that water doesn't ever get released. They do have to have a disposal from time to time, but it's like once every 5 years is what we're working on technology wise with different filtration and different things. And a lot of them now they're doing actual treatment on site, so they don't have to do anything to get rid of that water. They can reutilize it back into the wastewater treatment that's already existing for the municipalities that they're servicing or that they're being built in.
Yeah.
So
So
you
if it's a
don't,
closed loop, you don't have to worry about the leaching and the other things that we hear
well,
about from some other
right.
places.
And a lot of times the old technology is based on cooling towers, which if you go to a power plant like the one at, any of the Alabama power plants that are coal fired, you see the steam coming out of the
It's
top
going to
of
be
the
the
cooling
steam.
tower.
Yeah. Yep.
That's just steam that gets left. But they don't use that type of cooling technology anymore. They use heat exchangers, and they don't even use chillers like they did 5 years ago. They're going more to a heat exchanger, which is all closed loop. And you can have tears and breaks, and somebody can drop a wrench.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like playing the dodgeball. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball, right? Well, if somebody's out there doing work and they drop it on a heat exchanger, the vanes may get clipped and they'll leak water out at that point. But you're not going to lose water to evaporation. You're not going to lose it in whatever treatments that are happening because it's all contained. I mean, heck, we got a data center right by the old Golden Flake that nobody even talks about, and they're some of the ones that I think, in my experience, they're some of the best ones at what they do because these guys are on the leading edge of technology, and they're always looking for solutions to problems they haven't even come up with yet. So
That's
they're
good to
trying
know.
be proactive and take care of things ahead of time. And if the truth be told, we've been using AI for the last 10 years. We just didn't know it.
Yeah, it's been
So,
creeping in. It's really already with us. Let me ask you this:
yeah,
what was the volume? Because you're helping me out a lot to try to understand. What's the volume of some of the centers you work on? Because I've heard this statistic that the average 18-hole American golf course uses more water than a data center. So I didn't know how to
I have
compare that. So what is the volume?
100%, 100% correct.
All right. So
The
I've looked
average
up.
golf course will use somewhere on the order of 3 or 4 million gallons a day, I think. If I had to,
I'm
get
looking
down to
at
the nuts and bolts.
this one quick search I did while you and I were talking about this. It's 312,000 gallons of water a day. That's 150 to 200 million a year. And
Yeah.
based on the numbers you just gave, that's 3 times what a data center would use.
Pretty much, most data centers use somewhere in the range of 100 to 150,000 gallons a day,
Mm. And
and
And then
that
there's
helps
the
with that.
runoff from a golf course. That water hits the grass and runs off into the tributaries, and it's got all kind of chemicals in it when it runs out of a
It,
golf course.
it yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, there are some nasty chemicals that you have in data centers. I mean, there's it's just the way it is, but a lot of it's on closed loop situations
Yeah.
and systems, so it's not going to leak unless there is a massive problem. But if you do the average homeowner, I'd want to say it's between 25 and 30,000 gallons a day is what the average homeowner uses.
Really?
Just yeah, I mean
Is
the
that
math
with or
isn't.
without teenagers in the house? Because that
Well,
makes a huge
that's like
difference.
a family of four, usually teenagers, because I've kind of
Yeah.
run the math on what we use at our house with two teenagers and an adult that's in and out because he's in the military, so he's always in and out for time to time. So we're in that 15 to 20,000 gallon ballpark every
Hmm.
day.
Okay.
Some people, depending on what your irrigation system is or whatever you have, you're pushing that number up higher, so you're approaching the same ballpark as a data center. Maybe not every day, but a lot of times throughout the year, you're getting close to that number depending on what your home size is. So there's there's a lot of cool technologies that are out there. There's a lot of micro uses of water, and when you get down to it, let's say you have 40 people at a data center every day working. Once it gets up and running, they're probably going to use about 130,000 gallons a day just in wastewater,
Well,
washing their hands, drinking fluids, different things like that, just
yeah.
because it's going to get washed through on that, back to the wastewater plant.
Well, just taking your information, this is exactly what I've been doing the whole show about today. Tuberville should
Yeah.
go around and do town halls, bring in all this info, bring in people from the industry. They should get this out there and help assuage concerns rather than just writing people off and handing, from a political perspective, Doug Jones an easy layup for people that don't know any better. Education on this is the way for us to do it, and nobody's really making the effort to do that.
No, and the thing that really ticks me off is you look at all these, the data center here, data center there. Yeah, that's exactly what we're getting. But they're already using AI from Facebook and everything else to compete against the information that's out there from folks like us that want to educate the community, because that's my job.
Yeah, and
My
I
job is to
appreciate
go out
I
and
appreciate
do
you
those
calling
things.
in because right off the bat, I was admitting I'm still trying to wrap my head around how these things work, what the impact's going to be. I think it'll vary project to project because one community is going to have a different surface water system or utility
Yeah.
needs and production capability than the other. But project by project, by ramming these things in and telling us that we can't ask these questions is an ignorant approach. Telling us exactly what the deal is and doing it out in the open is the better approach. And the GOP just needs to embrace that and get on with it because it's coming. We all accept that it's coming.
Sure, and that for me, that's the big thing. Is I try to be as politically agnostic as I can.
Yeah.
I can't stand politicians as a whole,
True that.
but I get really frustrated when I have people on both sides of the political equation that are fussing about, well, we don't want data centers here because they're bad, they're there, whatever may be going on. Driving your car down the road, whether it's a Tesla or a Dodge, gas, internal combustion engine or EV, doesn't matter. They're both bad for the environment in the long run. We just
Everything
have to be
has
educated
everything
about
has
it.
an impact for sure. Will, I appreciate your call today. That was edifying. I appreciate it, buddy.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah, and that's what all we're trying to do is understand it. And you can't just anyway, I've gone over it and over, and I think I've stated my case multiple times. Again, mine is a political handicapping approach. Why hand a guy who's an automatic loser an issue to appeal to the mainstream that's a layup issue in the governor's race here in Alabama and let it be front and center? Look, you got to put up with a lot of economic ignorance over the gas price, right? It's a psychological thing. I've told y'all this story so many times. I was working for a member of Congress the first time gas got over $1. Okay. So it was in the old mechanical pump days, y'all remember those gas pumps at the station? They didn't even have a symbol for $1. They didn't even have 3 digits on the pump because for all of existence, it was just 90 cents or 50 cents. That was when it got to $1 of all the big time political international issues that Congress would have to deal with, our phone rang off the hook more on that than anything else. My whole experience working with Congress, people were losing their minds. There's something psychological that we measure about how we feel about our circumstances by that stupid price of gas. Even though index for inflation, gas is actually cheaper than it was 20 years ago. It just is. But compared to everything else, especially. But it's in there. It's part of the fabric of how we think. It does have a political impact. The left has seized on it irresponsibly because these a-holes are trying to run the gas companies out of business and wouldn't let them drill, won't let them build refineries. They're the reason. They're for every tax you can put on it. Do you know how much per gallon you pay in taxes on that stuff? It's all coming from Democrats. But yet it's an issue for them, and they're using it effectively in these races around the country. And the next thing is the data centers. And it's not even the argument of are they good or are they bad? It's do we get a say or not? Are y'all listening or not? Are you for the big corporations? Are you listening to us? And there's the dividing line. And to do anything else is tone deaf, at least politically. Robert and Billy, I see you over there. We're going to get this quick break in here. We'll go back to the phones. EcoView Windows next up here on the show. EcoViewWindows.com. This is a wonderful company that can get you buttoned up. Speaking of efficiency and your power use, they can save you 35% of the money you're spending right now on your heating and air by just improving the windows. Plus, you're more comfortable, both because of the efficiency of the windows. You can not be fighting with your heating and air system to stay comfortable. Then in the spring and in the fall, when the air's nice outside, you can crank those things open and let some fresh air in. Some of y'all have painted shut windows. You can't even do that. It's EcoView Windows. Let them show you how they can save you on that and give you a free estimate at the same time. EcoViewWindows.com. Back here in just a minute. Speaking of water, how about you put a pool in your yard? How about that? Um, it's not just pools anymore, as I tell you every single night. And it's a good thing Distinctive Pool does these comprehensive projects where they can come in and put the pool in, or you can do these in stages. Say you want to start with the outdoor living space, add the pool later. They'll do either one because they're hardscape experts. Gary Levesque started off in hardscapes 40 years ago, converted to a pool builder, and now the two have come together because people are building outdoor living rooms and outdoor kitchens and pizza ovens and fire pits and all these nice, beautiful things where you put the fire and the water together and enjoy it all year long. That's just wonderful. Distinctive Pools can give you a proper design that looks like it fits on your house. Build it right. You got to have a pool builder there. These are sophisticated systems nowadays with a lot of components and parts and things that happen. Let Gary and his team come over and show you what they can do. They'll get you a plan, help you get financed if you need that, and then get it built. You can still use it all through the fall. You can work on it now and get to using it by football season if you hurry. Distinctivepools.com. Distinctivepools.com. So what we learned from that last caller, I believe, is that since at least on the water issue, there are other issues with these centers. We should be putting them on golf courses. Am I wrong, AJ?
There you go.
Mountain Brook, time for y'all to step up. Your golf course is more polluting to the environment and uses more water than a data center. So we just put a big one right in the middle of the country club.
There you go. And then make it almost like one of those putt-putt golf where you hit the golf ball through the
Yeah,
data center.
through the data center
to get to the hole-in-one.
I like that. We could just make it all work together. We are the world. We're just pulling everybody together today. Billy is on a cell phone. What's up, Billy?
Hey, man. Hey, I got into the car a little bit late. Did that feller say that 40 employees would use 130,000 gallons of water a day?
I sort of got lost on the math. I don't remember what the numbers were. I do know I think his residential estimate was way higher.
Oh, yeah. Well, if 40 people was going to use 130,000 gallons, that's 3,250 per person, and there ain't no way.
Yeah, that's like a swimming pool per person almost.
You know, it might have been the plant, included in that.
Yeah, I got you. Hey, thanks, Billy. I think the math was throwing people off when he talked about the residential numbers. I think maybe he was just talking and off in his calculations as he was talking along. I do that sometimes. Robert, what's up, buddy?
Not a whole lot. I just wanted to back up the previous caller. Those systems are closed cell systems now. We don't use evaporative cooling anymore. It's all air-cooled chillers. It's basically a big refrigerator. You run water through it, and then you run it into these rooms with what's called a computer room unit, and you blow air across the coil, and that water goes right back outside, runs through a big refrigerator, comes back in. You don't spend that kind of water anymore. It's actually against the Green Initiative, which has been in place for a long time. So it's just the whole thing about the water is that data center is not going to use much water at all. There's going to be an initial setup. You're probably going to have to put 60,000 gallons in it like a swimming pool, but it's not going to evaporate. Second point is you're absolutely right, and Trump had gas down to $1.17 his last presidency.
Yeah, look, it'll happen when this conflict's settled, and we know it because everything else is there for it to be that way. Thanks, Robert. We just got to get this bottom of the hour break in there. So, look, we got the water issue, you got the hum or the noise issue, you've got the electric consumption issue, and those are also things that we need to understand as we move forward with all this. Back here in a minute, Leland Live. Y'all stay tuned. You know, the thing is, I just heard that promo, AJ. I don't even remember calling Fauci a sawed-off twat. I've been watching too much British television. That's one of their insults. Except they say twat. He's a twat. It's very fitting for Fauci, though. The other one's wanker. I'll save that for later.
Yeah.
Don't be a wanker. Call Stockton Mortgage. How about that? Here's Thomas over at Stockton. What's up? What's up, Thomas? Just trying to throw you off, man, before you get going.
What a great lead-in. Don't be a waker. Call Stockton Mortgage. I think we need to put that on a T-shirt or
I'd be careful with that. Yeah,
sure.
be careful.
That'd be
Look
great.
up wanker before you do it. Just going ahead and saying it.
Yeah, no, that'd be dangerous.
Yeah.
No Stockton customers need to look that up. We do not endorse that at all.
Yep.
So, man, we had a great turnout. You know, yesterday we talked about our home buyer class that we were giving last night. We had between 85 and 90 people tuned in last night on online to our Zoom call online, and we had a live video call for lasted a little over an hour. I went through the entire home buying process. Man, it was great interaction with all of the listeners and customers that were interested in home buying. We're going to be doing another one in a few weeks, so be on the lookout for that. I'll announce it again. And so, man, it was so great to get to interact with some listeners and some clients and answer a lot of good questions. And so want to talk today about we did have a customer call us a few weeks back, and we just got them closed up. That mortgage loans, when you guys call us, you're not looking for a mortgage. You're looking not only a mortgage, you're looking for a solution to your problem. You're trying to buy a home, and we had a client that contacted us that got referred to us because they had called another company, got referred to another company, and the other company could not get it done. And they contacted us because they did not have a product at the other company. And the issue was the old adage, they could not get it done because couldn't get their income calculated. Well, they contacted us. We had a program available to them where we did a 1099 program. And what that means is their income was too low on their tax returns. They were smart and was writing off their income where they weren't paying very much on their taxes, paying income tax. So we could use their 1099s for their income documentation, which is the form if they're a contract employee where their employer does not withhold their taxes like a W-2 employee. They don't withhold on those. And we use that form, and whatever that form says, basically we take 85% of that document, and we use that as their income. And so we were able to use that income and get them qualified to buy their new home, and we just closed them up on a brand new home. So if you have listeners out there that are having trouble getting qualified for a new home purchase, have them give us a call. We'd love to help them get into a new home. If you have a dream of home ownership, give us a call. Don't think that it's impossible. Let us sit down, show you how we can get you qualified. 205-859-8859 or savewithstockton.com.
Savewithstockton.com. Y'all, savewithstockton.com. Thomas, we'll talk to you tomorrow, my friend.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Don't be a wanker. I'm still reeling from the fact that Marsha Brady, or the actress that played Marsha Brady, is just turned 70 today. I don't know why that threw me. I hadn't looked at that show the same since. You know all the stuff about the show. Greg, the older brother on the show, apparently was spoinking the mom the whole time they were shooting the show. I mean, who knew? And then the dad, Mike, apparently hits for the other team. Who knew that either? He's into the dudes. I don't even know how I even got sidetracked by that again. I think as it popped up online. Somebody said it out loud, and it suddenly started popping up on my computer. Hey, here's another weird statistic. I'm going to move off data centers just for a minute. But if y'all still want to call with the info or whatever you have on the subject, we'll talk about it. But this was the other day I had this alarming statistic of the number of 25 to 34-year-olds that are still living at home. we sort of noodled through that, what the economy's doing, the choices of these kids in this generation or that generation. But here's another one, and I've been thinking about it since I saw this morning and trying to decide what does this mean? Does it mean anything? But I was really surprised by this. Women on American payrolls, women, and that I mean people originally born as women, or maybe that's anyway. Women have taken over men in the people that are on the payrolls. Let me rephrase that. I said that all wrong. There are more women on U.S. payrolls now than men. So I tried to dig deeper into the story and decide, are men choosing to not work? Because that's alarming. Or is it just, and I didn't consider till just now, maybe it's men who now think they're women and they're adding them to the numbers and it's really the same. I don't know. You never know nowadays. All I know is if it has an apple, it has a banana. Y'all look out, it's a dangerous world out there. But I think it's these lifestyle choices that this younger generation's making. And I'm not here to say women should be in the house and making babies and cooking breakfast. But I am saying there's always been this struggle against two-parent paycheck household versus one. I was just thinking about young sons. One of them does it one way, one of them does it the other. And the work-life balance is always, I think it's more difficult for women. There's always been that trade-off, but the presumption was, based on tradition, that the guy is the breadwinner, and if the woman wants to work, that's great. If you can make both work, whatever. But this looks like a shift in the other direction where some men are going, I don't mind being a stay-at-home dad. Now, I knew some people that did this over the years where it made more sense for the higher earner to be the higher earner and the other person handled the household duties. And maybe we're past all those stereotypes, of course. Men ought to be pulling their slack at home anyway, I'm just saying. But that's a fascinating statistic where that has flipped. And I don't know if it'll stay that way. And I don't know the exact reason for it. There's probably a multitude of reasons for it. But, some of that started, and I've given this speech before, taxation, despite the fact, and this is the rude awakening that these kids are going to get with their embrace of socialism and all this. The real reason things are unaffordable is largely government. It's the things they do to our money and our currency. It's the debt they've incurred, the money printing, the bad policies, all these things. It's just a complete fallacy that the super rich aren't paying their fair share. They're paying way north of almost all the taxes. They just are. The bottom 50% in this country doesn't pay a damn thing. The bottom 50% of earners don't pay anything. They're not paying into the system at all. So they don't have their tax policy correct. But the bigger thing is because of taxation, and this is just a fact, and this is true for all of us, if you're in a two-paycheck household, between federal, state, and local taxation, not to mention the built-in taxes for every product you consume, and like when you go to pump gas, all these other things with your expenses, where they're taxing everything that moves. But in a two-paycheck household, because of taxation alone, the lower earner of the two taxpayers is almost exclusively working to pay all the taxes or to pay the taxes of the household. Let me see if I can make that make sense. It's because we've passed the 50% mark. In other words, if anybody in the household is making less than 50% of the whole income for the household, that person is working exclusively for the government. Now we look at these shifts and who goes to work. So years ago, there was no choice because the taxation, in order for a family to keep up with the inflation, again, caused by government, and to pay the taxes that these people want from us all the time, both couples, the husband, the man and the woman had to go to work in a man-woman household relationship. And you didn't have much choice in the matter. And then we get stuck in that loop, and now some people are choosing otherwise. And I don't know. That's just fascinating to me. But it's this trap we're in that these kids nowadays didn't live through. They don't understand what brought this on. They're just ignorant. And so they're embracing a lot of stuff because it sure does sound good to think you're going to get things for free and nobody's going to pay for it. Here's the thing, kids. Y'all gather around the radio. Uncle Leland's got a story to tell you. No, the people actually producing stuff will just quit producing stuff. They're not going to be around to just provide you things because it's their duty or that you try to make them. They're just not going to do it. There's an old Ayn Rand quote. I had it pulled up today. It says, when you see that in order to produce, you need to obtain permission from men who produce nothing. When you see that money is flowing to those who deal not in goods but in favors, when you see that men get richer by graft and pull than by work, and your laws don't protect you against them but protect them against you, when you see corruption being rewarded and honesty becoming self-sacrifice, you may know that your society is doomed. She wrote that in 1957 in Atlas Shrugged because her family had to flee communism. And these kids weren't taught any of it. So the lessons she learned were in the 20s. She writes about it in the 50s. It's applicable today. And these kids don't know that the state itself will fail. All of this is doomed. But there's a trend going, and we saw it in the some of the poll numbers last night. All right, let's take another quick break, and we'll come back and see if we can squeeze. If y'all want to do any more phone calls, we'll do that. Andrew just reached out to me about Alabama Baths, and I've got some questions for him too with my project. Here's a wonderful company. Now, the thing we focus on for the most part at Alabama Baths is just this tub shower conversion thing, where you've got a current setup where maybe you want to keep your bathtub, but you need a fresh bathtub. Now, clearly they can come and do that for you. Or you want a walk-in system bathtub where you open the door and let yourself in there and fill her up. They got these quick fill systems where you're not just sitting there waiting on the water that people love to give their independence and their freedom back. But one of the bigger products that we talk about a lot is just taking that whole tub out anyway and repurposing that space with something beautiful that's more functional and way safer. And that would be these slip-proof systems with shelving and handles and seats and the things to help you balance, ergonomic plumbing, all the stuff you need to feel stable in there and get refreshed and take care of yourself. You don't want to have to call a family member to help you with these things. There's sad statistics where people just put off taking a shower. They'll do it once a week just because it's so frightening. You can get that out of your life within 2 days with Alabama Bath. Their products are better than the big corporate competitors. There's zero pressure from them. They've been in business for 40 years. These are local folks. They just want to give you the best product for the best price, a fair estimate, and let you think about it. Take all the time you need. When you're ready, they're ready. If you're a veteran, John's a veteran, and he totally gets it. The VA can be tedious to get through the paperwork to get something like this covered, but we owe that to you, and they're willing to take their time at Alabama Bath so you can get that worked out or help you get it worked out with your paperwork and all the stuff that goes with that. It's a great company. It's alabamabaths.com, alabamabaths.com. Turns out when Chris Knight wrote that song, I guess it was about 10 or 15 years ago, he was writing about data centers. He was ahead of his time. He's like, I want nothing to do with it. This is crazy. I told Ryan today, we were talking about this. I said, I'm going Amish, man. I'm finally doing it. Got me some overalls. Changed my name to Jebediah. Learned how to make jelly. Or Bill Barnes. I could do that part.
You can do some barn.
Verily,
barn
verily, AJ.
Now you just got to get that beard without the mustache.
I'm looking at the camera right now. I can pull that off. That looks so weird. The most I knew about the Amish growing up was the movie Witness. You remember that Harrison Ford movie?
Mm-hmm.
He has a car wreck, winds up getting stuck in this Amish village, protect this little boy that was a witness to a mob murder or something like that. That was a good movie. All right, let's go back to the drawing board and get things wrapped up here. Make room for Breaking Bread. All American Metals next up here on the show. This is a wonderful company that can help you get your building produced, no matter if it's commercial, which is going to be for a lot of you. It's your business, it's your warehouse, it's your retail space. Some people love to invest in these mini storage units. Per square foot, that's a really good investment. And they can do a whole package for that. If you got somewhere that's got the space for it and you want to put up one of these things and design it, they can do that whole project for you. And then there's the use that I have, a pole barn, just a nice, quick to secure everything pole barn. Once you get your pad down and you get through that process or any kind of governmental approvals, these buildings go up in a hurry. And mine is just I couldn't enjoy my property like I do without it. I'm in there for a good part of the day. It's where I hang out. It's my dude space. And some of y'all have looked at doing this, or even a barn dominium, which is kind of a relatively new thing, but it's where people take this construction technology and build something that's actually a beautiful residence. And the phrase started with people that wanted like a barn down below with all the barn stuff, but to live there too. And those are really, really popular, especially on rural property. But they'll produce those packages as well. They've got a wonderful design team. And because they control the whole process from the design work all the way through to the delivery, you're in good hands. There's no supply chain kink that's going to throw your project off. It is All American Metals, aa-metal.com. Over in the Bessemer Hughtown area, I love that these are 2 generations, local folks that have been doing this for decades, all the expertise you would need. And again, when you're working locally, things just go better. You're working with real people right here at home. aa-metal.com, aa-metal.com. I'm getting a lot of good feedback from people that work in the industry and associated with data centers themselves. One of my really good friends, he doesn't want me to use his name, but he is working on some of these projects right now in different parts of the country. And he's saying that some of them, they're different types, the way they're designed. And some of them do use water consumption. Some are permitted versus when you're actually consuming water. Some do use evaporation still. So again, it's going to be project to project. The whole point that I was trying to make today on all this stuff is that politically, I'm not the engineer. My friend's the engineer. I'm the guy from politics. It is a huge mistake not to listen to people's concerns and either provide that information or sort that out for people before you run them over. And in this governor's race, I see a wedge issue that's giving an opening to Doug Jones that is a tactical mistake by the Tuberville people to be blank checked with data centers and not look like you're listening. It is tone deaf. And I think Tuberville's smart enough to adjust. I mean, he was a football coach. You have to make decisions in the middle of a game to change the quarterback. There are things that happen. And so his team needs to consider that because Jones doesn't have a chance in hell to win this race unless you give him a way to look reasonable. He is in a party full of straight nuts, and you're giving him a way to look like he's responsible and reasonable by not doing the same thing yourself. You could just neutralize this whole issue, hold some town halls, pull some of this information together. I think we learned some stuff today on the show already about what this stuff's all about. And as I was just quoting about the different situations, every project's going to be a little bit different. It depends on the community it's in, the resources that are available. We still don't know as much as we need to know about the power consumption and all those other ancillary things, the noise, any other environmental impact. This is stuff we deserve to know. And my biggest problem, I think, with the Tuberville response at one point and during this whole discussion, he was blaming the people that are resisting the centers right now are concerned as being succumbing to not Japanese, Chinese propaganda. China's just, and I don't doubt that they're attempting to do that to slow us down. But concerns about your community are the oldest concern in the history of any country. What's going in there and how's it going to help or hurt? That is a natural thing for people to be curious about. Here's Dan, last call of the day. Dan, go for it, man.
Hey, man, this whole thing, we just need transparency from our government.
Yep.
And then we also need regulations to put them in a corner to be like, hey, like you can only use this for this. That's the thing. We need transparency, what they're for, why they're being used, and we need regulations from the government. Like, hey, you cannot use this for these reasons. That's what we really need.
Well, if not regulations, at least a process for discovery for the rest of us, right? A process that everybody has to go so that we know about each project before it gets out of the ground.
Transparency, Leland.
Yep.
Look up Wes Huff on YouTube, WESHUFF. Look up Wes Huff and just watch any of his videos. Highly recommend it.
Got you, man. Good call, Dan. That's how to keep it pithy and short. All right, we'll be back here tomorrow to see how things go. Y'all stay tuned for Breaking Bread and catch our morning show, Richard and Val. Of course, Val's out this week. Richard's got different people in all week long.
Why, yes, he does.
Richard Dixon. I was listening to him digging the ditch this morning. I'm still working on my drainage project. I'm almost done with it, man. We'll see y'all tomorrow.
All right, stay tuned for Breaking Bread coming up next. Goodbye, AJ.